Man, the Denver Nuggets fans are in shambles right now. Brunson has another big playoff performance, and the Clinic has a eulogy for the losing teams in the Western Conference, aka our teams. I'm Rosa Panta. This is the Clinic All NBA podcast. I have the three hooligans with me. JJ, how you living, my friend?
Woo! I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. What's up, gentlemen? Long time no see.
She knows she loves Jay because
Long time no see, indeed. John, how you living, my friend?
I am good. My Lakers are out, but as long as the Clippers are out too, I'm feeling good. Sorry, Sammy.
Dang.
I'm Detective John.
I'm throwing shots early.
This is right from the very beginning. Sammy, how you living, my friend?
I feel good too. We're finally getting out of that hellhole that is crypto.com arena. Good riddance. With that, we leave the Lakers behind and we will hang the banner of longest lasting California team in the playoffs. At 6 games, friends. Hang the banner at Intuit Dome.
Hang the banner. Indeed, Sammy. Man, boys, it's been a while. We got to talk about some NBA basketball. And I have to talk about one of the most shocking things to develop this year in the playoffs. And it is the Wolves are now up 2-0 after playing 2 away games in Denver. They won today 106-80. First, I want to start off with this. 1, did anyone expect this coming? And 2, why are the Denver Nuggets having a tough time with the Wolves right now? And you know what? I'm gonna call on one of you guys. JJ, what do you think?
Jordan never did that move.
Why do I think the Wolves are up? I think, one, they have a superstar that's coming into the light. And we are old school 80s, 90s fans. And just to give a shout out to Ant-Man, we love your game. Keep doing what you're doing. But 2-0, the Wolves against the former champions with the MVP. I gotta tell you guys, I haven't seen a defense play this great in a while. Dare I say it, it is almost as if it's the equivalent of Warrior basketball on offense, but the Wolves represent that on defense. They're helping each other out. It's one fluid motion with whoever's picking up man on man. Doesn't matter who has the ball, you know that they're gonna lock it down. And that's what I'm seeing, the defense.
What do you guys think?
I love that. I expected this all the way. I knew that they were going to sweep the Minnesota.
This
Denver
son of a
Nuggets.
gun, dude. This guy.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to see how long I could actually get through without having one of you laugh. Now that we're past that, it is surprising. I honestly did pick the Timberwolves to win the series, most partly because of my disdain for the Denver Nuggets. Yes, I am a avid Laker fan, obviously, but I actually did pick them because I thought they would be a matchup problem for the Nuggets. They have all of the necessary tools and players and personnel to give the Nuggets problems, which is size. The Jokic, masterful basketball player, can see behind his head, has really no issues majority of the time with people who are guarding him. But he does have one problem, and that's size. And you have Rudy Gobert, you have Karl Anthony Towns. And on top of that, you have wings, you have athletic, lanky, tall wings. You have a veteran in Mike Conley. You have a superstar in the making who reminds me a lot of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. I'm not saying that he's at that level, obviously, but he has signs of being that good. Obviously, things have to play in his favor. There's a lot of things that's still to be determined, but he has that look in his eye that you haven't seen in a long time. I know we have LeBron James. I know we have Steph Curry. I'm talking about a guy who is not buddy-buddy with other players in the NBA. He doesn't like that fraternizing. He looks like the guy who wants to step on your throat, kick you when you're down, take your newborn baby, like all of those things that have the look of Anthony Edwards, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I think, look, they won 2 in Denver. I know we want to give Denver the respect that they deserve. They're defending champions, but I honestly think this series is a wrap. I think it's a sweep. I think that they are giving the Nuggets too many problems. The Nuggets are not the same team. They have been down 12 points in almost every single game this playoffs. And let's be like, as much as I'm a homer, the Lakers really aren't that great of a team, right? Like, but they still gave Denver some issues. They were in these games, and it took 2 Jamal Murray game winners for them to beat my Lakers. Denver's in trouble, and if you think otherwise, I disagree. But go ahead, Sammy, because I know you disagree.
Sammy, before you start,
Please.
you can answer the question. But also, I wanted to pose this. Jamal Murray, has been injured, right? It really looks like he's struggling. If they were playing the Phoenix Suns with Jamal Murray playing this bad, do you think they would be put in a similar position? Maybe not, down 0-2, but do you think they would be having a difficult time?
So I'll answer both. Would they be having this much trouble with Phoenix? No, that series might be 1-1, but Phoenix just did not have the depth, particularly defensively, where Jokic, I think, could get his teammates good enough shots that they would still be okay. Just because if you look at the wing defense or lack thereof on Phoenix, it just doesn't hold a candle to what Minnesota has. So I think Jokic could still make enough happen and create enough offensively that at worst they would be split. I actually still think it'd be 2-0 Denver in that situation. The comp I actually have for Minnesota's defense, and someone took an earlier shot, so this might remind us of something. There's a 2004 Piston team with a dominant center, a great wing defender, came into the finals against this heavily favored team, and then just blew him out of the building. What team was that? Do we remember what team it was? John, do you remember that
The
team?
Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, who'd they beat?
I can't remember.
Me neither, because they never made it back in the building. But it seems eerily similar. Like I was actually thinking about this, and you look at the wing defense, it matches. The Pistons had Tayshaun Prince on that team. Rip Hamilton could really defend on that team.
Right.
Ben Wallace, Sheed was there. You have kind of comps across the board, with the exception of the fact that Minnesota has athletically the closest thing we've seen to Jordan since Jordan. Purely athletically, like John was saying.
Just to add on to that, Sammy, about the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Jokic usually gets doubled,
Mm-hmm.
but when you have 6 Man of the Year props, Reed guarding him 1-on-1, and Jokic has a few inches on him.
Right.
It's like, dude, that's pretty amazing, man.
Yeah, and you know what we didn't even mention? Gobert didn't even play tonight, and they won by 26. Gobert was at home. Congrats to him, by the way, on his new child. I believe that's why he sat out tonight. But yeah, so I obviously think Minnesota's going to win too. I do think, because the world is against them right now, and Murray might not play Game 3, in those scenarios, historically, especially last year, somehow the underdog ends up pulling out the game. I think they're going to somehow pull out Game 3. It's going to give false hope, and they're going to finish the series in 5. That's where I'm at now.
So Sammy's got this is over in 5. JJ, what do you think?
Dang, man. I mean,
Say it. You know you want to say it.
I want to say 5. Gentlemen's sweep.
Gentlemen
sweep.
sweep. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but if I didn't know like the Nuggets' past history, I'm actually giving them too much props
Sure.
by giving them that one game. But if we're gonna disregard like what they did last year, and Jokic like MVP mantle, I gotta say, man, it does not look good. Gentlemen sweep, and I'm being nice about it.
John, where you at with this? Gentleman sweep?
I think it's 4. I think it's 4. I think Game 2 is more of an accurate depiction of the discrepancy between the two teams. Maybe not 26, 24 points, but I think it's more than what game one was. Game one was a 6-point win or 7-point win, where Minnesota had a less free throws. I think the whistle favored Denver more in game one, if I remember correctly. I also think that Jaden McDaniel scored 0 points when he can easily average 18. Naz Reid played a bad first half. Like, Minnesota didn't play a great game. They played a great second half in game one. They played a great game in game two, but I think that's more, the game one was more of an anomaly. So I just think Denver's outmatched. They don't have their depth that they used to. If they had their depth, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green,
Right.
you don't, like, that was, people were always kind of dismissing that, saying, oh, they have one of the best starting five. Minnesota is countering that greatly. They're losing the Jokic minutes. Their bench is out. Naz Reid is coming in. He's a sixth man of the year. He's playing like it. So when you're losing those minutes, plus you're not dominating the starter minutes, it's not good shape for you. I'm sorry. I'm just objectively, everyone's going to say, oh, you're such a Laker homer, you want Denver to lose. I'm objectively looking at it. Denver is outmatched in like every facet of the game. I'm looking at every single facet. They're getting outmatched, outclassed.
If Denver wins Game 3, boys, what are the chances that they win the whole series? If they win Game 3,
Oh man.
Barring an injury,
Still like 10%.
Yeah,
no,
still
like
like
very
10?
low, very low.
man.
I think
barring an injury.
Man, just the way that these first two games have gone, like John was like alluding to, like Nikola Jokic, like he's such a masterful basketball player that he's able to figure things out, and it seems like he's kind of like confused. He's absolutely stumped on how to solve this, and even today, I mean, he was a minus 16. I mean, I don't know what the Denver Nuggets is going to do exactly, but they definitely need some more like bench help, like John was saying. I have no idea what they're going to do. I honestly think it's going to be a sweep. I want you guys to react to like this phrase I'm going to spit out. John was talking about this earlier, and people last year were putting Jokic in the top 10, and now you go onto Reddit and they're like, well, I guess now we could take him off of the top 10. What do you guys think about that?
If you have him lower than 3, I want you to look up that Giphy of Michael Jordan saying, stop it, get some help. And just... The short memories that fans of sports have now in this social media age drives me insane. If you have him below 3, you're out of your mind. I don't even think it's disputable, but please, someone dispute me on this.
What'd you guys think?
When you say below 3, you think he's a top 3 player of all time?
No. Is that Reddit
Right now?
conversation all time or right now?
Oh no, all time, right?
All time. I think he's top 10, bottom of the top 10 list, but yeah, I think he's there.
Okay.
We've never
I
seen a
disagree.
big that can do what he does.
I will agree there.
I agree with that take, but I disagree with him being in the top 10.
You've got him
And
generously
I
at
guess-
34, if I remember correctly.
No, I think he's somewhere between like 15 and 20, maybe 15 and 20. Yeah. Well, for one, my subjective, it's all subjective, right? Like the reasons why you put your criteria for setting someone in the top 10, it's going to vary, and that's why we're still having these conversations about, the top 10. And frankly, it's an ongoing conversation, debate that happens across the board for basketball fans, non-basketball fans. But the reason I don't put him in the top 10 is, one, because obviously the championships and it's still incomplete. He still has a way to go, assuming he doesn't retire because he wants to race horses, which is a very distinct possibility. I think that for me, putting someone in the top 10 is a complete basketball player. And what I mean by that is you affect both aspects of the game, both offensively and defensively. And I don't think he does that defensively. And I know we can say, people will say, well, why do you put Larry Bird in there? Larry Bird was actually not a great one-on-one defender, but he was a great help defender. He was actually underrated defensively. I don't think Jokic is a good defender. I think if you look back at the tape, if you look back at there's a lot of things that the Denver Nuggets, the supporting cast, cover up for him. And so that's my sticking point for that. And I don't know if, JJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Jokic is not in my top 10. If Steph Curry and Kobe are on the brink of people's top 10, Jokic shouldn't be even in the discussion. Like, when you talk about top 10, I'm talking about achievements, like lifetime of achievements. Like, okay, you won a few MVPs, but what really matters to us is the championships. For me, it's also the influence on the game. Like, you walk down the street, you see Curry jerseys, you see Jordan jerseys, Kobe, whoever, right? Larry Magic brought the game into life during the 80s when the sport was about to die. Michael Jordan made it worldwide. Steph Curry and LeBron brought it to a whole new different level with social media. And now, Jokic, to be honest, we talked about this before, but do you see him as the same cultural level as the other athletes?
So Tim Duncan's not in your top 10 either then?
He's there, but his achievements catapulted him into the top 10.
I do use some projection in mind though. I don't think this is his only title. I will freely say that. Unless he retires very young.
That's fair, but hence don't crown him top 10 till that happens.
I mean, I could see how someone could get to him being top 10. I think the spirit of the conversation is really like, does Nikola Jokic being swept by the Wolves affect his status in all-time rankings, right? And overall, no. I think he's still a great player. I still think that Nikola Jokic is like a unicorn of a player, because this is the first time that we're seeing him mix new school basketball, as in like keeping ball movement going and everything, but also the dominant big thing is still there, like old school basketball. And we've gone away from the dominant big for like the past, 5-6 years, where someone could just take the ball in the middle and watch Nikola Jokic walk like Anthony Davis all the way to the basket. Like, that doesn't happen anymore, you know? Yeah. And to see it happen last series, it's like, oh my gosh, like there's a dominant center again in this league, and that's Nikola Jokic. So I could see how someone can get there.
Can I take back my answer?
Yes.
He should crack my top 10 because I'm going to exclude, as I've done before, as JJ Redick would say, the players who played against the plumbers, the carpenters.
That's where I can see it.
He's taking Bill Russell. You're taking Bill Russell out, right?
And Will Chamberlain.
He's like,
yeah.
He's better than. Can we all agree he's better than Karl Malone?
That's not even a discussion.
Yeah.
How about Durant?
For sure.
Yes, he's better than Durant.
If he wins one ring, in my opinion, he is the best one ring NBA player of all time.
Okay,
I don't know what that list is, but I would almost guarantee he is better than anyone on that list.
Last comparison, is he better than Hakeem right now?
No.
Ooh, that one's very close for me. That's a good debate.
Oh, go ahead.
On accolades, it's really close, only because if you take out the plumbers, as JJ just mentioned, then literally he's gonna win the MVP this year. Are we all pretty much in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's 5 guys that have won the MVP 3 times or more, not counting again.
For MVP for me though, like it's so. Here's the thing about MVP and awards, right? Like, I wish that they would account for the playoffs too. I don't like how it's just the regular season, because you have these guys who are winning MVPs and then they get to the playoffs. I mean, I want to see if there's like actual examples of this, because I feel like a lot of the MVPs that were won, these players ended up dominating in the playoffs and ended up winning multiple championships.
I'll give you your example. You want it? I'll throw it out to you right now. And
go ahead.
These guys will remember it very well. Dirk Nowitzki got the MVP.
Yep.
The year that they got knocked out in the first round by the We Believe Warriors, if that's what your comparison is.
Okay.
He literally got the award like after they got knocked out, or like when they were on the brink of elimination.
Yeah. Okay. That, to me, that's like. But then also he came back and he did the unthinkable, right? He took down the Heatles in their first year. right?
3 years later, or
Yeah,
5
but that was
years
3 or
in
4
the
years
championship.
later. And
No, I get it. I'm just saying, like, he still was able to perform in the playoffs, and Jokic has done that 1 year. But I feel like it's just 1 year, and that's why I don't have Dirk Nowitzki in my top 10. Like, I just think that, to your point, JJ, it's still incomplete. We cannot, to this day, today, I don't think we can say that Jokic is in the top 10. I don't, and that's not to say that he cannot be, because there's a very good possibility that he's going to win more rings, like Sammy said, or he'll get more accolades. But at this point in time, I do not think that Jokic is in the top 10. That's my personal opinion.
Boys, I'm going to move us on from this conversation here. I'm going to take us to the Pacers Knicks, which we also saw today, where the Knicks won 121-117. Jalen Brunson going off for 43 points, looking great as usual. And then the Pacers, on the flip side, Tyrese Halliburton kind of struggled there. Only 6 points. The thing I really want to talk about is near the end of the game, with maybe 12 seconds left, Indiana down by 1 point. Miles Turner comes up for a screen on DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo hits the floor, and there's an offensive foul call. John, I want to ask you here, was this the right call?
Oh my goodness. So they reviewed it, right? The replay center. The ever so accurate and well-renowned replay center of the NBA for this playoffs. Sarcasm if for those that can't tell. But they reviewed it, and they said that it was the call was upheld, that it was an offensive foul. Now, for a lot of basketball heads and for a lot of people that watch basketball regularly, what is the consensus, fellas, on a play like that, right? With the game on the line. What is it? You don't call that.
Don't
don't call it
with
unless
the game
it's
on the line.
egregious.
Yeah,
Unless
it's got to be
egregious.
super obvious.
Yeah.
And it wasn't super obvious. It
Not at
was 100% a flop by Dante. And credit to Dante for, acting it out. It was risky because typically you don't make that call. And that's you're leaving a wide open shot. I think that was Halliburton, right? He was guarding Halliburton. Mm-hmm. That's probably a wide open three or a drive to the basket, kick out, whatever you want to call it. That is a game-changing play, guys. Like, you know what I mean? Potentially. Obviously, you can't. It's a hypothetical situation. You can't say, "Oh, this would have happened" or "That would have happened." But I hate calls like that, and I think the refs have been complete booty. Right? I'm gonna keep it PG here, but I think they've been really bad this year. Maybe for the past couple of years, and maybe, hopefully Adam Silver doesn't watch this podcast. But the reality is like, I just think they've been affecting the game in ways that they shouldn't be. Right? They're there.
Yeah.
What do these analysts say? They're not there to watch the refs. They're there to watch the players. They want to be entertained, and that just left a sour taste in my mouth. I know the Knicks won, but like, I hate calls like that. I hate. So I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think one of the comments that was made on the broadcast was, if you had set a screen like that in the 90s Pacers Knicks series, then the only person screaming at you would have been your own coach because you didn't set a good enough screen. And in today's league, it was an offensive foul, and and then the following call where someone on Indiana got called for a foul before the ball was inbounded decided the game, because that gave Jalen Brunson an extra free throw that took the game from a 1-point lead with Pacer possession to a 4-point lead, and it was done from there. And that's the last way you want to see games like this decided. I mean, this playoff year overall, outside of a few games, has really not been great. There's been a lot of blowouts.
Yep.
And this was one of the games that was really a great game. And it got blown by the end, and now all anyone's going to remember is the end of this game. So it's sad. Like, it's sad to see that, especially based on the 30-point blowout we saw right after it. So hopefully the rest of the series gets back on track. But yeah, that's definitely not how I want to see game decided.
Stephen A. Smith tomorrow is going to say that was an egregious,
A perfect call.
Yeah.
moving screen.
JJ, I have this question for you. So, Jalen Brunson has been really, really great for the New York Knicks. I'm sure that the Dallas Mavericks feel some sort of way watching this. but the Mavericks are also doing really well. Now, if we, like in an alternate universe, if Jalen Brunson stayed in Dallas and Kyrie went to New York, would we be seeing sort of the same result that we're seeing right now?
Same result with the Knicks.
You could go both ways.
Yeah?
Both ways.
I'm gonna
Either the
say-
Knicks side or the Mavs side.
I just feel that Brunson's like grit style, his old school play reminds me of like a Mark Jackson, Marbury, or like Deron Williams.
Ooh, yeah.
Like it really fits the New York personality. Like it's really tough, rugged, but the way that he's playing with also his college bros, and I think that plays a huge part. It's pretty similar to like June when me and you used to play pickup. Like I'm more incentivized to win just because, you know, for family and we can't lose over like family like that, you know. And I feel that with Jalen Brunson's style, it really matches with the rest of the roster. Where Kyrie and the Mavs, to my surprise, and I think I speak on behalf of this pod, but we're all pretty surprised that they're being productive with Kyrie and Luka. So yeah, I'm kind of dumbfounded by that. But it's working. I don't know if it's because of the competition, but it looks like it's working. And maybe what Kyrie needed is a place that accepted who he was, which is a flat earther.
So if, like, to summarize what you're saying is that you're saying that it probably wouldn't be the same because Brunson is in the perfect situation with his Villanova boys.
Yes.
And Kyrie is in the perfect situation with flat earthing, accepting
yes.
people.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Accurate. Thank you.
And
You guys
don't forget
also
about
feel the same way?
Don't forget about Tibbs. Kyrie and Tibbs would not work together, I don't think,
Ooh.
at all.
Good call.
Yeah.
Because
I
Kyrie would
agree.
not want to play 52 minutes a game in the playoffs. Most
Yeah.
guys don't. But
Yeah, I don't think he could. I don't think
No.
durability-wise he could.
no, I agree. And this is the rare set of guys that actually excels under Tibbs. It's a very limited group. And the Nova boys happen to work together well and play well in the system. So I definitely don't
Yeah.
think you could swap it. And we'll get to this later, but I will give Kyrie much respect for his defensive play in round one.
He is
Because
100%.
defensively, he was on it in the
Yes.
Clipper series. But he just, personality-wise, he doesn't fit Tibbs. And it just probably having a head coach who was a point guard and Jason Kidd works better for him. So I don't think the swap would work.
No, I don't think the swap would work either. What about? I mean, yeah, we can get into Dallas, but man, they're balling. They are balling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's that
Right.
incense.
you know,
Sage.
The incense.
we'll just
Yeah.
talk about the
Sage.
Mavs and Thunder next. But before we do that, just real quickly, I want you guys to shoot your shot with the Knicks and Pacers here. How many games? Who's the winner? I'm gonna start with Sammy here.
Knicks in 6.
Knicks and 6. John.
Man, I thought this was going to be like a 5-game series, but you know what? Pacers came to play, so I think it's going to be a lot more competitive. So, yeah, I agree with Sammy. Knicks in 6.
JJ.
That was my pick. Knicks in 6. I hope they get that narrative of the Knicks and Pacers rivalry going. Feel
Yes,
it's
they
been
need Reggie
underplayed.
Miller. Yes, they need
Yeah.
Reggie Miller to announce one of the games. for sure.
Come on, ESPN and TNT, step it up.
Just-
That's why
just-
NBC's competing with you guys for that bid, man.
Just someone get Jamal Crawford off the screen.
Yeah,
Please.
please.
Yeah.
Mark Jackson's son. What's going on here?
You know what? I'm gonna be a little different here. You know, I'll give Indiana some love here. I'm gonna go Pacers in 7.
Wow.
I want to see Tyrese Halliburton show up here. I mean, they only lost by like a little bit. Tyrese only had 6 points. I don't think that's happening again. Okay, Thunder's Mavs. So I want you guys to say like your deciding factor and sort of make your pick as well for the series. I'm gonna start it off with John here.
Man, I think this is going to be a great series. I think this could potentially go 7. The Mavs are absolutely balling. They have the role players are buying in. Gafford, PJ Washington, that was always like thought of as great pickups, and they're playing their roles. They're key in the wins that they're. Kyrie is playing defense. Luka is a little bit hobbled, but he's still able to, he's still Luka, right? And this extended rest, I think, is going to help him. But they're playing really well. And then you have the Thunder. I mean, they're lacking a little bit of experience. Obviously, Luka and Kyrie has the most experience on the team, winning a championship. Luka has been there many years. The Thunder are super young. Obviously, they have SGA, probably runner-up for MVP. They're playing the best defense, I believe, in the playoffs of all the remaining teams. Defensive ranking, number one.
Minnesota?
No, Thunder.
No, but you're saying the Thunder defense is better than Minnesota's? Or the Dallas defense?
No. I think Minnesota's defense is the best in the playoffs. I'm just saying their defensive ranking is number one based on the stats. But I still think the Timberwolves based on their length and everything. But statistically, Thunder is number one. So I'm gonna say, man, to all that to say, I know I've been going on this little tangent. Is that, my gut is telling me Mavs in 7.
Ooh.
Mavs in 7.
Okay. Mavs in 7. What's the deciding factor here?
I just think the experience. I think
Okay.
the Thunder are lacking the experience, and I think they're going to fold in a game 7.
JJ, what do you think?
I'm gonna go Thunder in 6.
Thunder in 6. Deciding factor?
I think
Round Earth.
MVP favorite or runner-up Shea. This is his coming out party. We've been talking about Ant. He's
SGA.
just gonna come out right here and show the world why he propelled that team to the number 1 seed.
Sammy.
These teams both tear at my heartstrings for different reasons. One has my MVP on it that we traded away. The other one just knocked us out of the playoffs. I went back and forth on this too. I'm with you both. This is going to be one of the better series of the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
Where I landed on this is I really wish the Thunder made a trade for some size at the deadline.
Yeah.
And Dallas did. And
They did.
They didn't get big names, but they got names that fit that team perfectly. And Derek Lively has also developed very nicely. And I think
Yes.
that
Who
might
did they
be
get?
one of the
Gafford.
They got Gafford and
Gafford,
PJ
yeah.
Washington as a PJ Washington is 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah.
He's not a small
Right.
guy.
Right.
And I will give, like we were just talking about, Kyrie has never been known as a defensive player. Watching him in the last series with the Clippers, I have never seen him play defense like that. He was all over Harden all series long. I was very impressed. So by the thinnest of margins, I am going to somehow take Dallas to win the series. I think they... I'm going to take them in 6 because I think they're going to close at home. But I think I don't see any blowouts in the series.
So what was your deciding factor? Size?
Size.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm also going to go Mavs, but I'm really concerned because we did see Kyrie play great defense, right? But this isn't the older Clippers we're talking about. This is a younger, spry team.
I just had to laugh because Sammy's mad at you now.
No, if I describe the Clippers in a lot of ways, spry would not be one of them.
I didn't know who made that sound. I thought Sammy actually growled at me, so I'm glad it was something else. The Thunder, they're young and spry. They're gonna move around a lot more. They're gonna throw out, the energy level is going to be just a little bit different. Yes, the Clippers are probably more savvy, but the energy, I'm kind of wondering if it's gonna get to Kyrie and his knees. I don't know. That's the only thing I'm wondering. But I do think that the defensive experience, I guess, of the Mavs is better. So I'm going to go with experience as well as John. So I'm going to go with the Mavs.
How many games?
Out the number 1 seed, guys.
I
Crazy.
know.
Wait,
We're all going
Wait,
back.
Wait. How many games?
3-1-2 in that
Bro,
series.
how many
during
games?
Regular season.
I'm going to go 7. I think it's going to go the distance. Okay, we're going to go Celtics, Cavs. Same thing. Deciding factor, make your pick. I'm going to go in, let's see. Actually, I'll go JJ. JJ, go ahead.
Celtics in 5.
Okay.
Gentlemen sweep. They've been
Gentlemen
there
sweep.
before.
Yep.
Tatum, Brown. The concerning factor is the zinger. Porzingis is not playing, but they've been able to make ends meet whenever they've been faced with issues with their roster in terms of injury.
Okay, so deciding factor is experience.
Yeah.
Sammy?
Same thing. Celtics in
Yeah.
5. Deciding factors for me are just general overall firepower of Boston relative to Cleveland. We saw Garland's had some ups and downs in the series, and then even if Jared Allen was healthy, I don't think the Cavs would necessarily have a shot to win the series. I just think Boston's too good. But without him, you really need an interior presence to guard against all the driving and kicking that Boston does. And Mobley's solid, but without having Allen there, at least at full health, I think that's going to really detract from their defense. So I will say overall firepower and injury concerns on Cleveland side.
John?
Cavs in 4.
Deciding factor
Okay.
is John's
All
favorite of Boston.
Okay, I'm kidding again. Yes, no. Yeah, that's what I would hope for, if I'm being completely honest. But we know that's not going to happen. Honestly, I think I could see Cavs taking 2 games. I think it's Cavs in 5, but I don't want to be the same as Sammy and JJ, so I'm going to go Cavs in 6. I think Donovan Mitchell's good for going off for 1 game to steal 1, and then the Cavs might play an anomaly where they play out of this world collectively. Darius Garland or somebody else, Mobley, might go off with Donovan Mitchell putting up his usual 28, 29. So I'm going to say Cavs take 2, 4-2 Celtics.
So Celtics in 4? Or sorry, in 6?
6.
I'm gonna go sweep here. I think I think the Celtics are just better. The deciding factor is that they're better in every way. And that's where I'm gonna go. I'm sorry, Cleveland. Now we're gonna take it to some off-season analysis, guys. This is kind of like our eulogy here for our teams. And then there's the Suns also sitting there. But we're gonna play a little game here. We'll start with Sammy's Clippers. I'm sorry, Sammy. They've got Kawhi, PG, Harden, and the game here is, should they trade, let them walk, or resign? Basically, what should we do with the 3 superstars here in LA? And I guess John, you could start us off here.
I get to choose the I get to do this for the Clippers. Is this how we're structuring it?
Oh no!
No, we'll all have input.
Oh, I thought it was just me because I thought you were giving me this gift.
I chose the wrong first person.
And I'm like, man, is it Christmas? Christmas came early or what? Okay. All
right, John.
No, you chose the right person. I'm gonna start. Kawhi. Like, what I think should happen, but realistically is going to happen. So I'm gonna say what I think should happen. Kawhi, they should definitely trade.
Okay, can I ask about that though? Because I've heard you both say this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's my question for both of you. He's going to make $50 million next year.
Who's going to really realistically take him
for? Not just who's going to take him. I think someone would take him if you take back 3 players that make $18 million that are worth minimum contracts.
Well, that's what I'm like.
Yeah,
what I would say
trade
is,
do you make that makes the team better?
I don't know. I can't specifically call out players. I don't have a list in front of me, or I can't. On the top of my head, I can't think of it. But it would be expiring bad expiring contracts and picks. I think the Clippers need to rebuild. I think the Lakers need to rebuild. To be honest with you, rebuild around AD, but they need to rebuild. I think LeBron needs to retire, do something else.
I mean, Ben Simmons is an expiring contract next year.
There you go. Exactly.
There you
I feel
go,
like a guy
Sammy.
who doesn't play. We wouldn't know anything about that around here, would we?
Okay.
We found someone.
PG, I think he wants the max, but I think the Clippers are smart to not try to give that to him. So I would say sign and trade, because from my understanding, if they let PG walk, it doesn't give them cap space. Is that correct, Sammy?
Well, it'll also factor into Harden, because Harden's also free agent. If both of them were to leave, they might have a little space and they make a trade or two. but
Okay.
it would be complicated. We'll say.
Well, my thing about the Clippers is I think they should rebuild. Honestly, I think they should pull like an OKC and try to get as many picks as they can. So I think they should trade everybody here. That's my honest take on. Like, and I'm not saying this to say, oh, they should give up. I honestly think I think their window is closed, and sadly, it's because Kawhi just can't stay healthy. I don't think he's going to ever be healthy again. Sadly.
JJ, I see you're shaking your head. What do you think?
The main player I want to talk about is Kawhi. Because
Yeah, go for it.
out of everyone on the list here, you want to get as much back as possible. We've seen this iteration try to win for how many years? I think Kawhi has missed 4 straight playoffs. The best ability is availability. You gotta trade with Kawhi. You just gotta at this point. I mean, I know that Clipper Nation, the front office, they probably wouldn't do it just because of their investment in their new arena, and they gotta sell those tickets, those PSLs. But from a business standpoint, I think I agree with all the points that John made, which is Kawhi. Like, he hasn't been there to perform, and when you have James Harden questioning, voicing frustration, that's concerning. That's crazy.
Sammy,
So
Here's
I
here's
wouldn't
your
trade.
googly.
I wouldn't trade Kawhi just because I don't think you're getting any sort of value. I really don't. And
Fair.
I think that's a fair point.
That's fair.
That's
It's
the
fair.
only
That's fair.
reason. Like, if
Yeah.
you could go,
Like, realistically.
if you could get young players and picks, yeah, I'd do it in a second. But I just don't think anyone's going to do that, because the reason the Clippers are trading him is why no one's going to give you anything of real value for him. So at this point, you are stuck. And I'm not saying this like it's a good thing, but to me, as crazy as this sounds, you just signed into that new contract. You're literally going to the playoffs and you're just crossing your fingers and hoping that 1 year he's healthy. And it sucks to be in that position, but I think that's where you are.
You might just like sit him out the half the season.
They tried it last year.
He still got. Was he still injured? He was
Still got
injured,
hurt right at the
Yeah.
playoffs started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is with him. And I feel
Yeah.
for him, because you could tell in this year in game 2 and 3 when he went out and played that he wanted to be on the court, and I just think his body's breaking down, and that's where we are.
I know that we're talking like we're talking about the Clippers. We're talking about trade walk. I didn't want to ask one quick question about Kawhi. Do you think he retires at the end of his last 2 years? Because I think,
This upcoming contract,
yeah,
most likely, yeah, because he clearly doesn't want to leave Southern California. He's happy where he is. He doesn't want to move. We know he's notoriously private. He's going to bank another $150 million off this contract. Like, at that point, he's going to be 35, and
34,
his availability is going to be
35.
even worse. Like, I just can't see him unless the Clippers give him like a 1 year deal if something is really in good shape and they want to go year to year. Otherwise, yeah, I think he's done.
Yeah.
So I think that's the case with him. With PG, so the max for him is 4 for roughly 220, and it came out today that they've made multiple offers to him and he's turned them all down. What they've clearly stated and what they've clearly done is said, Kawhi's our best player. This is his contract. That's another way of saying you're not getting more. And Kawhi actually, to his credit, $50 million, $50 million. We're not going to get into that. He did leave money on the table. They would have given him the max. He had all the leverage. He left money on the table, and PG is not willing to do that, apparently. And he's also not willing to leave term on the table. And I actually think with these 3 guys, term is more important than the dollars. Like, 3 years is the absolute max any of these guys should get. Harden, I think, should get 2 and a team option. If he doesn't take that, I'd let him walk too. So with PG, I'd do the same thing. 3-year offer, whatever the dollar amount you want to call it is, 125, 130, 140. Takes it, great. You might as well roll the dice at this point because you don't have picks. And a 3-year contract is more tradable than a 4-year deal. To me, I think we'd all agree with that. Like, if they wanted to revisit that, my hunch now is that PG's gone. I don't think he comes back because he would have by now. He would have signed. And I don't think the Clippers are going to give him 4 years. I can't imagine them changing their minds now.
So you're thinking like he's gonna walk?
Yeah, no, I think he's gone. Either via sign and trade, or he's already been heavily rumored to either Orlando or Philly.
Philly.
Philly makes 0 sense to me, only because you're leaving a team where the top star is an injury question mark. every year, and you can't rely on him in the playoffs to go to a team on the East Coast whose top star is a injury question mark in the playoffs every year and is not reliable. At least
Tobias
if you're going
Harris?
to do it. Exactly. At least if you're going to do that in LA, you get to be home.
Can
So-
the Warriors interest you in Klay Thompson?
That's also going to Orlando. They'll be going together.
Oh my
Say
goodness.
what's up to Mickey.
What about your
So-
boy Harden?
So Harden, I would offer, again, dollars don't matter because you're so far over the cap. I think we need to understand that to begin with at this point. I'd give him 2 for $80 with a team option for the 3rd year. If
Yeah.
he takes it, great. If he doesn't, let him go, see if he can top it. I don't think
For
he'll be
what
able to.
again? Sorry.
Gosh.
2 for
40
$80,
mil a
like,
year.
The dollars don't matter though. Like once
Yeah.
you're capped out, it's like who cares? Really, like
Yeah.
because all you're doing at that point is you're paying luxury tax, and the Clippers have the richest owner in the NBA.
Yeah,
don't
it's the
care.
years.
Yeah,
it's the
It's all about
commitment.
term. Term is what matters. So you give him the 2 years. If somehow he rejuvenates his body up with LA's gentlemen's clubs, good for him. Keep the 3rd year. I don't see it happening, but that way you keep the leverage.
Every single year, I'm just gonna throw in my MVP ticket in the hat for
As you
James
should.
Harden.
As you should. But the reason I'd also do that is because, as we know, expiring contracts turn into leverage. So if you give him a 2-year with a team option, next year, if it really goes sideways, you have a $40 million expiring contract you can deal. That's why I do it that way.
All right.
And with
we're gonna
that,
move
let's
on.
bury the Clippers in the crypt. Move on,
Yep.
please.
R.I.P. Clippers. let's move on. Let's go to the other LA. We're gonna talk about the Lakers here.
You already know my stance on the Lakers. I'll keep it short. I think
Yeah?
they should rebuild too. I think AD's still young enough. I know he's injury
Okay.
prone, but I think they rebuild around AD.
Keep
Trade LeBron.
trade LeBron.
That's not going to happen. But
Well,
I
isn't
think
LeBron
they
a free agent anyway?
But you're thinking that's what they should do.
They should do. They should sign and trade, but they're not. He's going to get a no trade clause, though. Doesn't really matter. He's staying in LA. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Sammy,
But-
are you with it?
Well, I did forget to mention earlier that recently let go of coach Darvin Ham was part of that 2004 Pistons championship roster. I just wanted to throw that out there as a piece of irony.
Damn you, Sammy.
They're in a weird spot, man. Like, so in your perfect world, it's sign and trade LeBron, and just what about all the guys that are free agents again? Isn't like half the team free agents? That's how both LA teams run every year.
Yeah, I mean, like, Jared Vanderbilt's still on a contract. I think Rui Hachimura.
And Rui is, and then
Like, these guys are still.
deal.
Yeah, they're still young though. Like, I like
Okay.
I like their pieces because I think they could be young role players, but I still think they need to really get younger, get more picks. And honestly, the more I think about it, I said keep AD. I think if he's 29, but he's like a 35-year-old living in a 35-year-old body and a 29-year-old. I think they should trade him too, maybe for young picks.
So
Do
he's
the OKC
actually he's 31.
Okay, even worse.
So
yeah.
So here's the
Even
thing.
worse.
So thanks, Sammy.
Yeah.
Thanks for ruining my night.
So here's the thing.
Trade him too. Trade LeBron. Trade AD.
I would put them both out there. I would see who gets the biggest return. And I know because as fans, it's always easy for all of us to say, let's just blow up the team. I think in markets like LA, like San Francisco, I just don't think you can be completely irrelevant. And so you have to have at least one star there. And that holds to all three of these teams. So I would put both of them out there. I know with LeBron that's like unheard of, but you do need the pieces the same way the Clippers do. So one of those two guys is going to recoup them. I actually think Davis would recoup more pieces than LeBron at this point, just based on age, among other factors. So I would see what's out there for him. And if you get a deal that recoups, 60, 70% of what you got, of what you traded to Pelicans for him, what was that, 5-6 years ago now? I would highly consider pulling the trigger on that and going that route. The other thing that's not talked about enough with the Lakers, I heard this today. They are now looking for their 8th coach in 14 years, which is insane. This is not a team that's been stable since Dr. Buss passed away. So they need to make a long-term investment in a younger coach, but the catch with that is you need someone that feels empowered with LeBron in the room. And that's, I think, been the struggle. So
Right.
me nailing the coaching hire is as big as anything else of a guy who can feel empowered to run that team for at least 5 years. You gotta hit the coaching hire her and not go through another one in 2 or 3 years.
It's
That's
LeBron,
where I,
Sammy. They'll probably coach for 2 years.
if LeBron wants them out. Until
The
LeBron coaches
GM.
the team.
The GM.
Jay, what do you think?
GM.
What do you think the Lakers should do here?
The Lakers
JJ
should
wants
just
ugh.
probably trade AD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to the
just-
Warriors. He wants them to trade him to the
Yeah, trade
Warriors.
it to the Warriors.
Let's solve all the problems and trade
That's-
AD for Kawhi straight
Yeah.
up.
That's actually JJ's Warriors offseason analysis as well. Well, let's skip ahead here. So, Warriors. Of course, we're gonna leave Steph out of any conversation with the Warriors, right? I think we're all in agreement with that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Clay, Draymond, Kuminga, that sort of team. JJ, what do you think should happen here?
If Clay is gonna demand over 25 million, I say let him walk. I think the rumor during the midseason reporting stated that Clay was offered by the Warriors around that range, 24, but I hate to say it after that performance going 0 for 7 that left a lot of people with a sour taste in their mouth. So say let him walk if he's demanding that much. You know, the rumor right now is that the Magic would offer him 30. By all means, Magic, go ahead and do it. Right? Draymond, you're not going to get anything for Draymond. Draymond's the unique talent where he thrives the best in the Warrior system. He thrives the best with Steph Curry. And anywhere else, you might question his performance. However, I do see Draymond, for example, on a team like the Mavs, propel them into championship status. But I don't think the Warriors would trade him. So that goes to our third candidate, which is Kuminga. And I know Warrior fans, they're holding, to this thought that Kuminga's going to make this jump to the next Kawhi jump similar to what they've seen with Anthony Edwards. And my thing is, we got to maximize Steph Curry. And if Steve Kerr's already having issues with his minutes in the playoffs, just trade him. Get Steph the help that man needs so dearly.
What do you guys think?
I think
Well,
Wiggins should be on this list too.
Oh my
I think-
goodness! How can I forget about Wiggins?
Wiggins is negative value. That's a
How
problem.
did
with
you-
him.
Yeah, I think.
Well, no, I honestly still think there's a market for Wiggins because of his athletic ability and his defense, which he was utilized perfectly in Golden State. I know that there are many other issues with him, but if you were to, ironically enough, right, like Minnesota where he was drafted to, if you plug him into Minnesota's team right now, I think he would thrive because he's a type of player that if you rely on him to be a scorer, even though he was drafted number 1, he's going to let you down because he's inconsistent. But he has the prototypical type of player to play defense, lock down, and do the things that, would require you to win games. But the Warriors are requiring him to do too much, which is to score. And I know he was drafted number 1, but he really isn't that guy anymore, or maybe he never really was. Right? He can score in spurts. He can be streaky, but you can't have that, especially if you're relying on him to be your second, third best scorer on the team.
Mm-hmm.
The other
Sammy, what do you
interesting
think?
thing with Kuminga is this is a contract year. And so you've lost that window with him, and I believe his extension would require, call it 30 million a year offhand. I don't know the exact number. So you very quickly have to make a decision on whether you think this player can be a number 3 at worst on what you want to be a championship team, or if you need to trade him now and try to get the value and the player that you think can be that guy. My lean is to trade him because outside of Steph, he's by far your most valuable asset that can kind of reshape the roster. I agree about Clay. I think what's the cap? 15, 20 at most that you give him. 2 years at most. Again, I think term with Clay is insanely important. And I'm sure for you guys it would be horrible to watch him in another jersey, but if he wants to take the dollars, then you got to let him go. To to me, that's your jump-off point, is those two guys. I agree. I think Draymond and Kawhi, in terms of trade value, are weirdly similar. They make more sense on the team they're on than trying to recoup value because you're not going to get the value you're hoping for. So you might as well keep Draymond, try to find the right third piece to pair. You're almost replacing Clay in that point using Kuminga. That's how I would do it. I think that's the approach I would take. I would see what's out there for Kuminga and see how valued he is around the league and go from there.
I 100% agree. I think with a lot of these teams, it's like the league is already passing up these teams, like with how young all the other teams are and how good they are and how fast they're developing. I think this seems like a changing of the guards for the league. So it's interesting to see like what these older teams should be doing, which brings us to the Suns here. I want to be fairly quick here. What the heck do you do with this team with Booker, KD, and Beal? I don't even know where to. I have no idea where to begin.
Well,
like
I feel
JJ,
slightly better about
go
myself and point and laugh, but JJ, go ahead.
like where do you begin?
I mean, no one wants that Bill contract.
Yeah.
KD's, past his prime. Suns fans, I know you probably don't want to hear this either, but the most value you're gonna get back out of all those, that whole trio is Booker.
If you wanted to do that.
If you wanted to do that, if you're gonna build around anybody on this team, you build around KD. Trade Booker, get some assets, and surround talent with KD.
Yeah, John, what do you think?
I think you have to stand pat. I think you have to try to win with this team, and I think it's crazy because Bradley Beal has a no trade clause in his contract. Like that's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
And 3 years left.
Yes, and so it's like what you can't if you trade Booker and KD and try to rebuild, you still have Bradley Beal's toxic contract, and he's an aging star. I say that term loosely at this point. So like you're really those are two conflicting ideologies. You can't have a rebuild and then have Bradley Beal on your team for 3 more years. So to me, you stand pat. That's the only thing you can do.
I think I agree. The only thing I would desperately try to do, and their assets are so limited, you got to get a point guard in that place. This whole experiment of we're fine, they can write their own shop was like, this isn't hindsight. It was largely said that this was one of the dumber ideas we've heard, and and that was accurate. And the thing is, they've even doubled down because they gave Grayson Allen 4 years for 70 a month ago because they're screwed. Right. They have no assets. So I think you almost have to stand pat out of necessity unless someone just blows you away with a Booker offer. And the only place that's been rumored for that is maybe New York, but I can't imagine them wanting to do that. So I just think whatever limited assets you have, try to find a point guard and pray.
Yeah.
D'Lo.
I 100% agree.
I love it.
But boys, we are over time. I want to thank you three for being on. JJ, thanks for being on, man.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you all.
She know she love Jay because
John, thanks for being on, man.
Hey, the Pacific Division in the NBA is sad. But you know what? It's good seeing you boys. Great talking basketball. Have a good night.
I'm Detective John.
Sammy, thanks for being on, man.
Thanks, man. At least the Clippers have a new arena, and I'll leave it.
Sammy takes it all the way.
And shout out to our video producer, RJ. Check out our YouTube channel. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Like us on our Facebook group page, The Clinic All NBA Podcast, and follow us on Twitter at Clinic All NBA. I'm Ro Zapanta. This is The Clinic All NBA Podcast. Come find us wherever you get your podcast.
They off the weed.